Would you pray with me, please? Oh God, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of our hearts as we begin this Advent season in preparation of the coming of the Christ child, may we be more than ever focused on you and your light and your love in the world. Amen. Heaven and nature sing. Did you know that? Heaven and nature sing. Just take a view into your life. When have you known that to be true? Can you find one spot in your years where heaven and nature have come to sing to you? It may come in the brook, a water flowing over rocks. It may come in a sunrise, perhaps even this morning, as the skies were awakened. It may come in the wind brushing through trees. It may come in the flowers that push up in the spring, or in the leaves that fall this time of year. But the truth is, it does come. Heaven and nature do sing. And we have this glory if we pay attention to just that. And just that isn't small. Just that is as big as our hearts can imagine. Is as big as life can be. Not this, but this. That is the glory that comes as we journey through this holy season. Advent is the beginning of the church year. So don't start everything new on January 1st. Start everything new today. Today is the beginning. How will you live? How will you choose to live this year? This year, the one that begins today. How will you deepen your relationship with God? How will you see heaven and nature singing in your life directly to you and those around you? How will you open your heart and expand it to places that you never even thought about expanding to? How will you be open to that singing? To the glory that comes. Heaven and nature sing. Psalm 98, and you can read it in many, many different versions. The versions that we're going to be using is actually a paraphrase throughout this season, written by Nan Merrill in a book called Praying the Psalms. And so the words may be a little bit unfamiliar to you if you're used to reading, say, from the King James or for the New Revised Standard Version of 98. But the words may also be familiar, at least the images, the metaphors that are there. Turning swords into plowshares, iron plows in this version. Nation will not take up sword against nation. And the invitation, let's walk by the Lord's light. Oh, what a place that would be. God will judge between nations and settle disputes. Let us walk by the Lord's light. But how do we get to that place? And Romans gives us some clues. And again, we're reading an unfamiliar version for many of you. This is from the Message, and it's actually a paraphrase. But to me, it kind of grabs hold and gets at the heart of this. Listen carefully again, the words that Sue read for us earlier. Make sure, this isn't just every once in a while. No, make sure that you don't get so absorbed and exhausted in taking care of all your day-by-day obligations that you lose track of time and doze off. It's not that we can't take naps. Doze off oblivious to God. Oh, now we see. You see, we miss the heaven and nature singing. We miss the purpose of our lives if we doze off and are oblivious to God. Is that not true? The text goes on. The night is about over and the dawn is about to break. Now this happens every day, right? We go to sleep in the evening unless you're working third shift. And when you awake, the sun wakes up with you. But the invitation is for your life to wake up. Not just for all of creation to wake up, but your life, personal, real, you. Your name on it. That's the life that's being talked about here. Not somebody else's. Yours to wake up. We can't afford to waste a minute. We can't afford and must not squander these precious daylight hours in frivolity and indulgence, in bickering and grabbing everything in sight. And when I read through that text a couple of weeks ago and I'm thinking about Black Friday, you didn't even have to go to a store and you could feel like somebody was grabbing your stuff because the online piece on Amazon or wherever you were shopping would say there are only 3 left, and by the time you get your wallet out and get your credit card out and you're ready to buy, it says, oh, sorry, we're out. Really? This is how we spend our time? This is how we spend the precious minutes that God gives us here on this planet? Absorbed and exhausted, taking care of all of that stuff. Bickering and grabbing. And I love this. Get out of bed. Y'all did really good this morning doing that. Get out of bed and get dressed. Don't loiter and linger, waiting until the very last minute. Be prepared. Even today, you saw me while the choir was singing. I apologize if I distracted you, but I forgot the second microphone. I did. Talk about not being prepared, and I apologize. I wasn't listening to that part of me that needs to pay attention to heaven and nature sing. I was busy with the stuff. One of the true gifts of Advent for me is the time set apart. You'll find me on days when I'm here during this month, hiding away, squirreled away here in the sanctuary, just reading, just praying. That's all. I do it at home. I create little nests, one upstairs and one in the living room. A candle and a Bible and a favorite book. I am reading the Book of Joy that has Desmond Tutu and the Dalai Lama having this interaction about joy. It's a powerful book if you haven't read it yet. That time set apart is so precious and so important to us. Dress yourselves in Christ and be up and about. And I would say, dress yourselves in the coming of the Christ child. And be about prayer and discernment. And just lingering with this notion of heaven and nature singing. Get to that place, and so much of the other will fall away. Fall away. We don't need it. We need the God that comes in that heaven and nature singing. We need to recognize the glory that's there. We need to make room in our hearts for the coming of that precious babe in a manger, so that we might live out the message that he has for the world. And so may your Advent be blessed. May it truly be open and blessed. Amen.